loves, welcome to today's video. It has been a hot minute since I have sat down and filmed a video for you guys. Today's January 6th, Monday. It is the last day that the kids are on winter break. They go back to school tomorrow. They have been out of school for a little over 2 weeks. So I had a couple hours today, so I thought I would sneak in a video to film for you guys. So today I am so excited because I'm going to be playing with the new Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. Now this palette launches on January 13th, so I don't believe these are available on the website yet. It is a really interesting concept. Essentially, it's the same palette with the same shades, but there's one that is created for lighter skin tones and one that is created for deeper skin tones. So I'm going to show you these two side by side. You will see that the shade names are the same in each palette. You'll just see that they are slightly a little bit darker. This is the one for darker skin tones. This is the one for lighter. So you'll just see that same shades, there's just a slight difference between them. So I thought it would be fun to create a look using both of them, create the same look so that I could basically create an eye look on the right side using the lighter and then on the left side using the darker palette, and then we could kind of compare to see the differences between, because honestly I'm looking at these and I feel like I could use both of these palettes, and I'm sure that'll be the case for a lot of us. Like I don't think you can really go wrong, is what I'm trying to say, but I do want to see the differences and just kind of show you guys the differences between some of the shades. So that's what we're going to do today. I will also include some swatches for you guys so you can compare the level of depths of color. I think this is going to retail for $52. Was looking on Sydney Grace's Instagram account, which I'll have linked down below, and I found a post that they had made and someone had asked how much it was, and I'm pretty sure she said $52. You get 15 shades in the palette, and they are pretty large size pans. If you have not tried Sydney Grace shadows, they are so great, you guys. Like really, really impressive quality. Especially, they're all really great, but especially the shimmer ones to me, or the more foiled shadows, are just so beautiful. They have so much pigment to them. They're just creamy. There's not a lot of fallout. They're just like, they just check all the boxes for the perfect eyeshadow formula, in my opinion. And the owner, they're two sisters. I have spoken with Heather, and she's just such a delight. So I'm always so happy to support, you know, other small businesses that are run by just fabulous people. So if you haven't tried Sydney Grace, definitely check them out. But let's go ahead and get started. I have pretty much all my makeup on. I did already apply eye primer on my eyes. Let me scoot you guys in a little bit closer. Okay, here we are. I'm gonna put a headband on too to keep my hair out of the way. I did get lash extensions yesterday. I know that's probably hard to not notice, right? They're so full. I gotta say, I love them. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna do my kind of classic neutral eye. I do have to take the girls to gymnastics this evening, so I just wanna look, you know, look like my normal makeup. So we're gonna start with under the eye. I'm actually gonna dip in, so I'm looking at the lighter palette, and this shade right here called Romeo looks to be like a good brow highlight color, and it actually is. When I swatch it on my finger, it's bright enough to work under the brow, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. The palette does have a pretty substantial mirror. It almost, you know, it covers the entire palette. It's a very large mirror. So I am being a little light-handed. These shadows have a lot of payoff, and this one in particular has some shimmer to it, and I like the shimmer on my brow to be a little subtle, so I'm just going to kind of control that by having really light pressure. Now we're gonna go into the other palette, and honestly, I get the first opportunity to say that in the darker palette, there's not really a shade that's gonna work for my brow highlight. The shade Romeo, let me show you the two. So both of these shades are Romeo, okay? The one on my index finger is the lighter one, and the one on my middle finger is the medium one, which the light, and because it's a reflective shadow, it's making it look a little bit lighter, but it's got quite a bit of peach to it. It's a beautiful shade, probably a little too dark for me underneath my brow bone, but a beautiful shade for my lid. So right off the bat, if I were to look into the medium to darker skin, or the darker skin palette, I would say there's not really a brow highlight for me, but that's not to say I couldn't use every other shade in this palette because they're beautiful. So I'm going to actually go ahead and go back into Romeo and apply that underneath the brow. Okay, Perfect. So next we're gonna go in and build our crease color. And for that, I'm gonna go in with the shade Cherish, which looks to be kind of like the most ideal transition shade that you can, for me, that I can get. You guys, I apologize. These lights are so bright, so it is very hard to see the true color in these videos. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to insert some B-roll of me, or just take my camera outside in natural light to show you guys when I'm done with the makeup. So don't get discouraged. You guys will see a true representation of these colors. So I'm gonna go into Cherish, and I'm just going to build this into my crease. It is, these shadows are so good. Like, I cannot recommend them enough. I've had so many of you guys drop little comments in videos saying that Sydney Grace was like the best recommendation that you've ever gotten from me. So I'm telling you, I have yet to be disappointed in their formula. I have yet to be. Every single formula of theirs, their mattes, their shimmer, their like foiled shadows, they are all so nice. Okay, so that's the lighter one. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to take the same shade in the medium palette, and we're going to apply that into the crease. It also looks like a beautiful transition shade for me. Definitely looks darker, but I still think that I could make it work for me as a transition shade. I guess I can kind of already tell that of the two, the lighter one would be more the one that I would pick for myself. Like I said, that's not to say that I couldn't use and love the one for darker skin tones, because the colors are beautiful. They're just gonna be a little bit deeper on me. Okay, so now you can kind of see the difference between those two creases. And even though the lights are bright, I do feel like you can see the difference, right? So I'm actually gonna go back and build a little bit more of that Cherish in my right side here, just to kind of even out. But you can clearly tell the difference between those two. Okay, so the next what I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply my lid color, and then we'll go back and we will define the outer corners. So I cannot use this palette and not play with the shade right here. It's called Devotion, and it's very light reflective, so it's hard for you to see the true color. I think you'll get a better representation when it's actually on my skin. It is the most beautiful, like, high pink rose gold that I've seen, but it's really cool tone too. So I'm gonna pack this onto the lid. It is so, so beautiful, you guys. I'm just gonna pack that right onto the lid. This is the lighter one, and I am using the BK Beauty 203 brush. Okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna go in the darker one. And when I compare the two, the darker palette seems to be a little less rose goldy and a little more kind of like, not taupe, but it definitely kind of plays more cool toned than the lighter. A little more silvery, I should say. Yeah, so when this one goes on the lid, they're both really beautiful and similar, but definitely the lighter one looks more warm gold tone, which is funny because I did think that I saw some cool tone to it, but when I compare it to the same shade in the darker palette, this one is just really kind of plays a lot more cool tone, a lot more silver. All right, so I'm gonna just pack that on till it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay. All right. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to build the outer corner and give a little bit more depth there. And for that, I'm going to go in with the shade Abigail, which is this brown right here, matte. It's kind of like a cool tone grayish brown. And we are going to start, that was actually the darker one. I'm actually going to start with the lighter palette, and we're going to kind of build this in the outer corner right here. Perfect. And I am using a new BK Beauty brush that'll be available next month. It is like a true pencil brush. And I'm just gonna kind of pack that color on to create depth right there. And then I'm gonna go back with my 202 BK Beauty brush, which is more tapered, and I'm gonna just kind of soften it out a little bit. Okay, all right, the next I'm gonna go into the other palette, the darker shade. I'm gonna grab the same shade, Abigail, and we're going to apply it in the same manner. Yeah, I can definitely tell this palette leans darker for sure. It's nice though because it's very subtle. Like, it definitely, when you compare the two, you can definitely see that this one is darker, but it's still a palette that I could wear, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna just pack that on there, and then I'm gonna go back and soften it. Okay, perfect. Oh, so pretty. I can't tell which one I like more, honestly, you guys. So So the next color I'm gonna apply, I just realized that I made a mistake. I was talking about one of the browns in my corner being Abigail. It's not, it's actually Victoria. Abigail is the one I'm about to apply, which is the shimmery purple at the bottom. So this is what it looks like in the lighter palette, and this is what it looks like in the darker palette. Can you guys tell the difference? You can see that this is a little bit more vibrant while this is deeper. So we're gonna apply that on our lower lash line. And this is the fun way to add a pop of color to your look. If you are someone like me that likes to wear more neutrals, but sometimes you want to play with color. Sometimes you just look in that palette and you're like, I want to wear that color, but I don't know how to wear it. This is how you wear it. So I'm going to apply this right on my lower lash line, and you want to use a very small defined brush. This is the 204 by BK Beauty, but really any tiny little brush will do, you guys. If you want it to be smoky, look for something that is small but still offers some like fluff and softness to it. If you want it to be really defined, look for like a stiff, thin angle brush. So we're gonna go in and apply the darker shade right here on this side. This one is just a bit more of a smokier color. Oh, that's so pretty though, very beautiful. Very, very, very pretty. Okay, that is so pretty. Oh, I love that. Okay, the next I'm just gonna kind of just add a little bit of, so next I'm just gonna kind of dust away any fallout that I might have. I honestly didn't see any. This is just kind of a step that I always do. I always take a little brush and just brush away any fallout that I might have. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit closer just so you can see the two eyes. I mean, the differences are subtle. When I went to apply the color, I could definitely tell differences between the two palettes. But again, like I said, I don't think you can go wrong with either of the palettes. I mean, obviously if you're very fair, you'll want to go with a lighter. If you're got a deeper skin tone, the darker. But if you're kind of a medium skin tone, I think either one will work, with the exception of the darker one having a good brow highlight color, because it doesn't quite have a good brow highlight color. If you're like my kind of level of skin tone, at least scoot you guys in a little bit closer so you can see. Okay, so this is the differences between the two eyes. This is the lighter one here on my right, and on my left we use the palette for deeper skin tones. I don't think you can go wrong. I really don't think you can go wrong. Both palettes are beautiful. There definitely are those subtle changes, but I think that's what they were going for. They wanted it to be essentially the same palette, just workable for all skin tones. They didn't want to create two different palettes, and I think they did a really, really great job, because like I said, the differences are subtle, but they are definitely there. Hey guys, I just wanted to pop this little clip into the video so you guys can see how the shadow looks in natural light. I'm just standing here in front of a little natural light I have in my house and using my cell phone. So a little bit different than all the bright lights on me in my makeup room, but I wanted to show you the difference between the two sides. Very similar, like I said, just the differences are very, very subtle. Very, very beautiful though. I think the biggest difference I see between the two is that the shimmer shade that I used on the lid is definitely more silver on this side and more warm kind of rose gold on the right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I am going to include swatches. In fact, we'll do that right here so you guys can see both palettes swatched side by side. Again, $52 is what I believe this palette is going to retail for. It is going to be available on January 13th through Sydney Grace's website, which I will have linked down below for you. I think I have a 10% promo code for you guys. If I do, I will have it in the description box for you as well. All your questions, comments, all that good stuff, leave it in the description box below. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Cannot recommend Sydney Grace enough. I know a lot of you have already tried it, but if you haven't tried Sydney Grace, trust me, you guys, whether it's this palette or it's just trying one of their individual shadows, you will come back and thank me later. I promise you. All right, you guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.